We should have actually documented that. Now we have all the space in the world. I don't know what to do with my legs.
Look at that. A lot of room for activities.
I know there's some shot. I saw it earlier. Like that one, we have different shots.
Yeah.
Where now I think I have to wear shoes because bare feet are gross.
Yeah, that is true. I normally didn't wear pants.
Yeah, ever. Whoa.
Man, I got to come to Charlotte sometime.
Pretty relaxed.
We need some books.
It's pretty relaxed over here, JW. All right, let's get to a bit of a racket rundown quickly. There's a lot to talk about. Obviously, injuries are taking hold on tours. Six Kings Slam, a lot of investment going on all over the place in tennis. We'll let Mike put his tinfoil hat on.
There's a lot going on.
It's finally happening. It's finally happening for you.
I've been wanting to talk about this for months.
For months, literally months. Rybakina slides into 10th place on the way to Tour Finals, beat Alexandrova. Alexandrova, props. Top 10.
Sneaky great season.
Top 10.
Sneaky good.
She's kind of been one of those really, really good players that's kind of been between 15 and, 35 for a long time, but top 10. That's the number that everyone wants to get to, right? That's one of the stepping stones. That's a big deal. So congrats to her. Congrats to Rybakina. No surprise she wins, something like 90% of her first serve points. When she is in full flight, I think she has the best serve in the world. I don't know that it's that close. Maybe Aryna when she's really serving well. But Rybakina can hit all four spots on the court, do side, ad side, off of the same toss over and over. I think she's going to have a massive year next year. I think this year was nuts for many reasons and personal and trying to get coaches. And feels like it was just a year of distraction, right? When she's flying, she's been playing pretty well. Played well going into the U.S. Open. I had her going to the final there. So maybe I'm just overly impressed on the eye test with Rybakina and what I see from her. But I'm buying going into 2026, JW.
Yeah, we'll talk about six kings in a moment. If you were going to do six queens in the WTA, I think she makes that list. And I think you're right. These were sort of a couple of years that I think maybe she looks back and X years from now, she wished she hadn't sort of squandered these. She's underperformed the last 2 years, but I do think you're right. That's a stock to buy. And, this is a player who is a few points away from being a two-time major winner, kind of notionally in the prime of her career right now. And I think you're right. I think she's top. Is she top 10 now?
She's right there on the edge. I think she might be just outside of it, but she is playing this week, so therefore has a shot. The other thing about Rybakina, she draws Sabalenka. Sabalenka is going, oh shit. There's not a lot of players that aren't in those first two or three, like the Cocos and Igas and Sabalenka, where all of a sudden you take someone who isn't in that kind of top three stronghold, insert him into that, and you go, I don't know, it's a coin flip. Right? And Rybakina is one of those players that no one wants to see. She can beat Sabalenka, she can beat Iga, she beats all the top players. It's just a matter of consistency. And I'm not sure how you find that consistency when, the life mirror is pretty inconsistent and flashing inconsistency all the time. So all this to say, Rybakina is such a good player, fighting for that last spot to get into World Tour Finals or whatever they call it. What is it called?
The WTA Finals in Riyadh.
WTA Finals.
WTA Finals.
Oh, but normally they come up with some sort of really unnecessary title. That's great.
Just what I've been calling it.
Perfect. Oh, geez, well, that means... So the only thing I know now for sure is that it's not called WTA Finals.
No, per every press release, you have to say sponsored by PIF in Riyadh.
Yeah, in Riyadh.
Yeah.
Maybe get to that in a moment.
So seven players have qualified, so there's one spot open.
And Drave is currently in the 8th spot, not playing next week. Rybakina is playing in Tokyo next week.
Yeah, if Rybakina makes the semifinals, she's in.
That's a weird one for Andreeva. I wonder if, I almost want to take a panic wild card or something.
You think?
I don't know. Honestly, and with Andreeva, she was fantastic earlier this year. We would have been surprised that you didn't just put her in.
Yeah.
Right? She was, circling a 4, 5, 6 in the world most of the year. Didn't have a great second half of the year. Now, obviously, this is new, right? She's young. She's played great. And, JW had her in a couple of Grand Slam finals already, I think.
To preempt, it's almost like the season's really long and players can't sustain it, and physically and emotionally they start to tail off. But yeah, Andreevas had a much different second half than first half.
Yeah, we'll get into this, and I'll tell you my own experiences with going out and trying to kind of add points to the board after post-U.S. Open, pre-Australian Open. It's just a weird time of the year. FAA still looks great. He is putting a run together. This guy's indoor record, he's won Basel a bunch. You take out the elements. And also, like, the U.S. Open is a pretty muted court now. With that new roof, there's not a lot of wind that gets in there. It's a pretty true bounce. You know, the heat fluctuates and the density of the air fluctuates on how the ball travels, but there's not a whole lot of wind. It went from the windiest court maybe on earth, like the subtle wind that was always blowing 15 one way or the other, and they used to have the flags up top, right? And when there was no roof, and the flag would be blowing one direction. Mm-hmm. And by the time the wind circled down, it was blowing the opposite of which way the flag was blowing.
It's crazy.
So it was great because you would play someone who had never played out there before, and you'd walk behind them. You would normally get introduced second if they had never played out there. So you walk behind them, you see them clock the flag, which is what you're supposed to do, right? That you'd see them look at it, clock the wind direction, and you're going, they're screwed.
Because they're completely reading the wrong direction.
It'll be opposite by the time it gets down. There's none of that at the U.S. Open now. It is a sweatbox with not a lot of wind to be had inside of stadium court. Obviously, the other courts are still wide open. But all that to say, when there's not wind and it's a predictable bounce and it's that kind of loud noise feedback, FAA is great.
Yeah, he's 76 wins indoor since 2020 and sixth indoor title.
God, how many matches has he won overall? I mean, that's got to be 77 match wins since 2020.
76.
That is massive.
Indoor hardcourt wins.
How many of his titles have been indoors?
It says sixth. This was his sixth.
I don't know how many he's won total.
Indoor title.
Maybe we'll look that up.
Of 8.
6 of 8. Yes, I mean, he's doing a lot of lifting, career lifting on the indoors. Now you just got to get a slam indoors. I don't know, maybe the Saudis. Here they come. Lehecka makes the finals. Just rock solid. You know, he's just a really, really good player. He's there most weeks. How about Medi? Medi making a late run here, putting some points back on the board. Kind of slid to 20 in the world. Post-U.S. Open, 20-ish. Now back up to 14, I believe, after Almaty. 21 titles, 21 different cities.
21
the weirdest
I love
stat
that.
in
That's
tennis.
the best stat in tennis. Best stat in tennis.
Yeah, it began in Sydney 2018.
Weirdest stat in tennis. Comes through again. And I asked us to look up, and, you know, our research department doesn't really exist, so we're just Googling stuff. But there's not that many players in history, I'd guess 40-ish, maybe give or take 3, 4 on each side, who have won 20 titles. Like, you talk about the guys who have won 20 titles, and you're talking about some pretty heady company for Medi. And now his title count can legally drink in this country. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a big number. I mean, this is don't we all agree too? I mean, I think tennis is better off when this guy's playing at the level he's capable of. Not a great season headed into now. It was, I don't know if you saw how emotional he got after that. I mean, you say, hey, he's playing some October event in Kazakhstan. This is a major champion. He's been number one. He's been to other major finals, and yet he's leaking tears in October in Kazakhstan. But I think he knows that this has not been a great couple of years for him. He knows that he's not playing up to his ability. It's great to see him back. I mean, he's still outside the top 10, which tells you something about his decline lately. But I think this guy still has a lot of good tennis left in him, and that was a nice result to see.
Yeah, I actually talked with Medi. I asked him if I could talk about this when we were on the phone, and he said, "Yeah, I don't really care about that or anything really." But he called me. He just said, "You know, what do you think?" And I think he was going through some feelings after the U.S. Open. We talked for probably 45 minutes. I probably talked too much. I'm a fan of his game. I'm a fan of his career. I'm a fan of what he's done. I'm entertained by his petulance. I won't always defend it as the absolute right thing to do. But if someone raises their hand and says I was wrong pretty quickly afterwards, I normally am a little softer on the stance as long as it's not hurting anyone else. And he just does it, and he's clever and funny. But it's crazy to think like someone who's been number one in the world has now won 21 titles, at that point 20. It's the greatest thing about tennis. You're still searching. And he said, listen, if I had bad results, 3-4 years ago, I kind of always knew it would turn around. He goes, right now I don't know.
Wow.
And that's it's funny. You can't lie to tennis based on past accomplishment, right? Like you kind of have to restart over and over. Like, and it's the greatest thing ever. It's not like you can ride an Oscar win for Rolls, 5 years later.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. But so props to Medi. He's really turned his year around, played well in Shanghai, lost in the semis. I'm sure he's wanting that one back and saying, maybe I could have won that tournament with the old cousin battle in the final there. But props to him. Like, he needed a strong finish to this year, maybe as much or more than anyone else on earth, just based on wanting to be top 16. The last thing he wants to be doing is playing, one of the top guys in the third round of Grand Slams. No, thank you. That sounds like it's terrible.
Right.
Go ahead, JW.
Do we talk about this enough? I mean, now that we went here, I think this is a real sort of quirk, asset, virtue of tennis that Coco wins a major, and 8 weeks later she's fired her coaching staff, and no one is quite sure where she is, and there are all these existential concerns. The flip side is, I remember talking about Felix this summer. I did a Canadian interview, and they sort of said, "Is this guy done? Is this guy cooked? Are we ever going to see Felix again? He was supposed to be the guy, and what happened to him? And he plays Rafa." In Roland Garros and goes 5 sets, and now the guy's struggling to win matches, and here we are, and he's winning titles. I think tennis's ability, both, it's easy to fall off the merry-go-round too, but tennis's ability to sort of restart things and rewrite things in a really compressed amount of time. They're no the Sixers are in rebuild mode for this season. In a few weeks, you go from barely winning matches to winning tournaments. The flip side is you can also win a major and then suddenly struggle with your confidence. But tennis really compresses this, and I think from a fan's perspective and certainly from a player's perspective, that's really a virtue of the sport.
Yeah, and it's weird too. It's a localized hype machine, right? Like FAA, he was supposed to be the guy. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean he's gonna win majors? Does that mean he's gonna be a top 10 guy? Does that mean, what does the guy mean? And also, if someone's young and becomes good when they're young, irrespective of the general skill set, shot tolerance, footwork, holes in their game, whatever, if they're young and have some early success, wherever they're from, they're going to go, this is the guy or gal. Right? Now, if FAA was 14 and you say that's a top 10 player, everyone's like, man, that's amazing. And then he does it and fades for a year and a half where he's just not playing quite as well, then it's like, stick a fork in him.
Right.
It's like, well, no, I mean, he's still 25.
He's 25 years old.
Yeah, and what is
Right.
what is he? He's a guy that works his ass off, is an entirely responsible citizen, is great for the game, does he have the hands, and does he have the feel or speed of like an Alcaraz or a Sinner? No, and and then from there, is it I don't know. We'll be entertained when he's in front of us. In my opinion, that's lazy, right? There's Alcaraz, there's Sinner, there's the rest. He is part of the rest, and he can upset anyone in the world. Like that. That's it. And when he gets indoors, he becomes a really good player, maybe top 6, 7, 8 in the world as soon as he steps onto an indoor court. I don't think that's hyperbolic, but to say this guy's finished, okay, tell me why. Tell me why. He's had some injuries. That affects fitness. That affects confidence. Now let's let him get back to health. Let's see what happens, right? Let's see if he can make a run at the end of the year again. I remember a couple of years ago when he ripped off Basel and Vienna, and he's just having an absolute run. And they're like, "Well, does that mean he's going to be 2 or 3 in the world?" I go, "It's indoors versus not. Let's have an actual detailed conversation and talk through nuance, right?" And that's just not something we do. And also, other people capture our attention in this sport, JW. It's like, okay, FAA's in the semis of Wimbledon a couple years ago. He has our attention. Then all of a sudden we look, Alcaraz breaks through and Sinner becomes dominant. He has our attention. And then for most tennis fans, they look up and they see a 30 next to FAA's ranking. They go, what happened? There's a whole story there. It happens every week. It doesn't just happen once every 18 months.
And we have
am I wrong on
and
this?
all this is in all this is in the face of rolling point. I think that the casual fan looks and they see numbers and they see, wait a second, this guy was in the top 10 and now there's a 3 and a 0 next to his name. What the heck happened? But my point is just this sport makes it really easy for you to don't get too discouraged, tennis players, because a little bit of a hot streak and suddenly what's Felix now is 12, I think, right?
Yeah.
Just a little,
yeah.
So just a little semi of a Grand Slam will do it.
I was going to say, exactly. In the span of 8 weeks, you have your ranking, and suddenly you're going into the next major as a top 16 seed, and your whole sort of vista is completely changed. All this is to say, not too high or not too low in this sport if you're a fan or if you're a player.
And he's only 330 points back from Musetti for the last spot in the ATP Finals. There's 3 guys kind of on the bubble. But
and there's some big points to be had
still. There's some
still.
big points. There's still 3 weeks.
Yep. There's some big points. There's some 500s. There's obviously Bercy, Masters 1000. It's open season for that last spot, which is fun, right? I don't know that it's going to switch on a 250, which we'll get to in a second. Like Casper Ruud wins at 250. I don't know that it has that much of a dent. You have to make a move in the 500s, the 1000s. 250s do not dictate who's in World Tour Finals. And the only reason I'm saying this with a hint of aggression in my voice is because it actually matters for the schedule. And we're going to get to that. Casper Ruud played great. I mean, beating Humbert 2-3 on an indoor court, that's a beating. And props to Humbert because he's always good indoors, similar to FAA. Like, you get him indoors and he becomes, whatever his ranking is, you can cut it in half based on earth. But Casper Ruud, like, there again, to the point where it's kind of weird that he's not directly in right now World Tour Finals because he's been such a staple there. I don't know, JW. What do you think about old Casper? Do you think that he would? Now, and obviously, hypotheticals. This is stupid because it's not a real conversation, but just it's kind of fun. Would Casper Ruud give up a World Tour Final spot to win his first Masters 1000 this year? Which one would he have rather had going into the year?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think he'd rather have 1,000.
I think so. Like, looking back, I made it 4 times or I made it 5 times. I don't know.
Right. I mean, he's. I don't think that's true for every player, by the way. But he's been to that. He's been to the year-end event. He's been to major finals. I think he knows that this is someone. I have such a high. I got a lot of time for Casper Ruud. You always have good conversations with him. He gets it. He knows that there's this chatter that he's sort of the king of the 250s and the 500. Yeah, I think he would take that 1,000. But it's nice to see him playing well. Nice to see him winning in Scandinavia. And I think we're sort of, at some point, we'll spin ahead to 2026 and talk about players to watch. And I think he's still got a lot of good tennis in him, same way Medvedev and Felix does.
I'll tell you this, and this is gonna, I'll get shit for this, but here we are. I think pretty much every year after I had made World Tour Finals a couple of times, you say, do you want to participate in World Tour Finals or do you want to win a Masters 1000 event? My answer would have been, I want to win a Masters 1000 event.
Interesting. Why?
Yeah.
Because you remember those. No one can sit here, like, people watch Served all day. I wasn't great. End of the year wasn't my thing. Like, I had a really hard time. And this is from someone, like, I showed up every day and I worked and, like, I take a lot of pride in that. It's the hardest thing for me to do is play that, like, this stretch of the season because you put so much into finishing at the U.S. Open, so much in that run-up, Wimbledon through the U.S. Open, and then you automatically start thinking about Australia. So I'm just saying no one here in this room can tell me what I did at a World Tour Finals, except the year where I made semis to finish #1 in the world. That's it. That's it. But won Miami twice, that has some gravity. You win Canada, that has some gravity. The Masters 1000, you can tell me 5 years from now, we're not going to remember whether Casper qualified this year. It's going to be that or one of the other years, but we're going to be able to say he won a Masters 1000.
What do you think is part of the point, though? They're trying to change that narrative, by giving it branding and race to turn.
It's been around forever. What are we talking about?
I'm just saying, like, do you think there's...
No, I think it's great.
A way to elevate it
listen,
further?
World Tour Finals is extremely prestigious, right? You are the best of the best. It's like Top Gun, right? You're the best of the best, and we're going to try to figure it out. And I don't know, like, the grand scheme of things, I think it's like a icing on the cake for the season, and I think it's a source of pride for players. Also, it's like mid-November, and we've been watching for 10 months.
It's almost like a little too late.
It's like, how are we supposed to pay attention
It
to?
should be in like September.
U.S. Open has the attention of Earth, and it's like we go into a million of events afterwards, and it's like this marketing thing. Like, it's hard to market something that never takes a break. There's no preseason. Like, it's hard to market something that never takes a break.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean it's not a fantastic event. I'm just telling you my personal preference. The last, I qualified for basically a decade. You take away those 5 and give me 5 more Masters 1000s? Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's just me. Maybe it's not everyone else.
Don't you think some of this? Don't you think some of this might be the slams have become these 4 tent poles, right? And here you have an event that's a different format. It's round robin. It's played indoors, so it's not even a surface. It's not even replicable for a major. I also think this event. You're right. Some of the look at Nadal's record. I mean, players are kind of dragging. Everyone knows it. The surprise winners have not tended to capitalize on that. It doesn't have great predictive value. Grigor Dimitrov and it doesn't really have any predictive value for the next year. I think you're right. I think most players would rather go win Toronto one year
than participate. Listen, I would have loved to have won World Tour Finals. I didn't. Didn't even come close. Didn't even play in a final. I don't even think I played in a final. So I wasn't good there. So that. My bias is going to be obvious in this argument. I'm just saying, if you could have given me take a Rome title instead of participating, yep, absolutely. Win Indian Wells once, yep, absolutely. So, anyways, the race towards the end of the year, that's the entire marketing. Is like we're sitting here talking about. I'm very, very interested in who gets the last spot.
Yeah,
it creates a mechanism where you're like making the cut in golf, right? Where you're watching someone try to make the cut and have a 5-footer to move on. Like that's great. That's great drama. That's great marketing. That's what the entire thing is. We're talking less about, third, fourth, people who are actually qualified. We're like, flip the page.
Yeah.
Let's get to that 8th spot. And I think that's great. I think it gives us something to talk about.